So thank you everyone for attending online and in person. We are hosting our She's the Business event a little differently this year. Normally we run it around International Women's Day or November. And this year we are pre-launching with our very own Dr Beenish Siddique, who won Venture Further in 2019. And this year we're hosting our main event on the 7th of April, and that will include workshops, different guest speakers, guest panels, where you'll see Dr Beenish Siddique again. Thank you. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So this year we're also making She's the Business a fully fledged support programme. So we're not only running our launch event and the actual main event, we are also running a support programme for our female femmes and female presenting entrepreneurs as well throughout the year, all up until term 2, and hopefully we can retain you all in a nice She's the Business cohort. So that's what we're hoping to do this year. So we're kicking off this first event with Dr Beenish Siddique, who we're really happy to welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And Beenish is the founder of AEH Innovative Hydrogel Ltd, and she won Venture Further in 2019. And her idea has changed quite a lot from that initial Venture Further application, so we'll get more into that in a minute. And we're very pleased to announce that Beenish has secured £3.5 million of funding this year. So massive congratulations, Beenish. How do you feel having secured funding that amount?
If there is two words, I will say our domain. Reason is it was an easy journey, so I'm quite happy we have secured this investment. Obviously, this is second equity investment in our company. Before, I have won 1 million from Innovate UK, and that was quite exciting for us as well. But this is something I'll say, especially because in the time when it's in 2021, there is less than 2.5% women. They have secured private equity investment, and I'm quite excited, especially if I'm women
in that statistic.
And yes.
Well, that is an incredible feat to achieve. Being in that 2.5% is really groundbreaking as well. And I think your whole journey to entrepreneurship has been very groundbreaking. As you were the first woman from Mirpur, from Azad, Kashmir, to leave and attend university, and that must have been a lot of pressure for you to make that decision.
Yes, so for me, I mean, the reason in that time, now things has changed. So I think most women now do attend universities as well. But the time when I came, it was quite difficult because at that time my mother, she also passed away. So I started my undergrad degree in September 2008, and one of the reason I left my city because I wanted to pursue my degree in chemistry, and at that time we don't have any university in our city, and most of my family, they were from UK, and they used my brothers, sisters, everyone was here. But to be honest with you, because in our city 70% of British Pakistani, they are from Mirpur, Azad, Kashmir, and at that time, as you turned 18, usually the culture was like you get married and you go to UK. And at that time I was 17 and a half year, and my family, not close one, distant one, they were also thinking in that way, and we start getting marriage proposal and everything. But my mother, it was my mother's dream for me to pursue degree. Unfortunately, she passed away from brain cancer before I turned 18. My brother, they were really supportive what they said, because our mom wish was for you to pursue degree, and I was also determined, like I will go with it. Although we have not only myself, my brothers, they also faced lots of criticism for this, but still, I mean, it was incredible for me, and it wasn't possible without my family. So.
Well, that is great that you've got such a strong family network, and especially from your brothers who encourage you to pursue that and kind of go against the grain of like your culture and all. That is really incredible, and I'm really happy to hear that. So as well, you how did you go from the wound technology that you originally pitched on Venture Further to what AEH is now?
Yes. So for me, I think the idea, if you look at both technologies, whether it's wound care or agriculture, the main idea was similar. The reason I started their company was to innovate. Obviously, I will discuss about my career part later on. But for me, the reason, if I wanted to change the world, and then what happened with wound care, yes, it was exciting technology, but what I realized, I need at least 5 to 10 years to bring the product into market. And I was a kind of person like, okay, I got this technology, it's really great, and it has potential in agriculture sector. And especially when COVID-19 hit the UK, most of us, we heard about like lettuce. So everyone was like, okay, there is a shortage of lettuce as well. And then I was like, okay, why not make UK resilient on its own supply chain rather than depending on other countries. And then at the same time, with agriculture sector, there was issue with greenhouse gases emission. And I realized if we change the product that are already used in agriculture with more sustainable option, then this will change not only the agriculture sector, but it will also make me to bring the product that will change the world. So yes, that was the main reason to switch from wound care to agriculture. But main technology is similar, because with wound care, if you think when you have any wound infection, so there is exudate production. Exudate is just like liquid solution. And with agriculture sector, and then wound care, hydrogel work in a way that you put wound dressing and it absorbs exudate. So in agriculture sector, you need something that can absorb water. So principle is similar. It's just like changing the sector. And I'm not saying I stopped working on wound care technology. We are still working on it.
Deviated slightly. Well, that's good that you've got like an all-rounder product. And how did you come about developing that? Obviously, not spilling any secrets, but how did you come about developing the product?
Yes, so if I be honest with you, so there are lots of scientists. I used to hear they discover this accidentally. And I will also say the same thing.
Happy accident.
Yes. So the reason, I was doing one experiment, and then the lab where I am based, usually they work with plants. So one day they were lettuce seed, and they just dropped on my gel. And then after 2 days, I saw there was seeds, basically plants they were growing. And then at that time, I was like, okay, this is the where it can fit. So yes, I will also say, one was accidentally I discovered like, okay, this has potential. But at that time I was working with more synthetic hydrogel, and then I went, because for me sustainability was a key criteria. I have modified that technology to make sure that it's more environment friendly.
Well, that's great. And I think sustainability is obviously something that's at the heart of University of Manchester. So the fact that you managed to couple your studies with a business idea is really, really cool. And as a woman of colour in STEM and in business, I imagine that's been such an incredible journey for you. And did you face any barriers? And do you face any barriers in terms of like sourcing funding or?
I think what I will say, yes, I have faced difficulties as a woman of color, but what we need, I also appreciate even women, if they don't have that, if they are British or white women, they also face the lot of troubles. But the way I have faced difficulties, for example, when I used to go to pitch to investors, so there are lots of time they get surprised, and when they can, oh, she's from Pakistan, and usually for them, and some of them, they even said it to me, okay, we never saw any founders from Pakistan, and then at that time, and then they didn't invest at that time, because the reason for them was like they were thinking there are always stereotypes for most women. I mean, usually there is like when they get married, sorry, I mean, this is some controversial thing, but I should say. So in back of their minds, they think like, once you have family, you won't be able to dedicate yourself to business. So this is something I have also faced, but at the end, lots of rejection. So for example, I went to pitch my business idea to more than 50 investors, and lots of them, they have rejected my idea, although they liked the idea, but then somehow they never invested in our company. And the other issue I have faced, it's not as a woman, it's also as when you finish your PhD degree, lots of people, they don't trust you. They feel like you have just graduated, probably you don't have any credibility. So for me, the difficulty was, for example, when I was writing up Innovate UK grant, so I approached around 40 or 50 academics, so then they can become partner for my project. But literally all of them, I think 90%, they didn't respond me at all. And 10%, they said it to me, you should work as a postdoc, not to waste your time, not to have a startup company. So this is something, I mean, there are lots of difficulties, but at the end, obviously, for me, what I have noticed, this is massive for all women of color. So you will face lots of rejection. So probably you will go meet 100 people. So 90 straight away, they will reject you. 10 out of 10, like there will be 5. They will say, yes, your idea is brilliant. You are an incredible person. But 5 of them, they will never come back to you. There will be only 5 people who will come back to you. So just don't get disheartened, like 95 people are saying no to you. So at the end, 5 people, they are important. They just
I think that's really good advice as well about resilience. And I feel like after you've just said like 90% said no out of 50, how do you stay positive and resilient as a startup business?
Yes, so if I be honest with you, because obviously probably lots of people want to start their company and they want to hear it. So lots of time I felt so disappointed. I literally cried because for me it was difficult. But what I did from my during PhD, I learned that you will have lots of failures, but at the end you will win. You will achieve something. So what I did, I stayed focused, and there was lots of disappointed. I'm not saying you don't need to feel disappointed because it's a natural process, but at the end, just think whatever you will do, whether it's a startup company, your career, or anything in life, you will face failure. But failures are just one step towards success. So this is basically this is the reason I just remember that quote, because for me, I mean, I used to read lots of books, and then most famous people, I learned they had lots of failures, and then they become successful. So whenever I was feeling down, and at some point I decided to give up. So before, and that happened in first year when I started my company. So first 6 months, they were really difficult because I was working without any salary, and lots of people, they were just thinking I should work as a postdoc because there is a income from there. But then I decided to apply for venture further. And then,
look at you now.
And then it's just happened. And even now, basically, I'm not saying after so many, because lots of people, they do think, my company is so successful, I'm so successful, but still their times come, you feel disappointed, but it's just a natural process. And then you just need to think, one failure, just learn from these things and then just go ahead.
That is so true. And I always like to say that you shouldn't fear failure as well, because it is, like you said, a lesson learned. And people never talk about their failures on social media. It's all positive, but really that's what makes you a great entrepreneur, is like accepting that you will fail, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing and nobody's going to judge you for it. And I think sometimes we think about people's opinions and I get nervous about that, when really it doesn't matter. It only matters for you. And you know, you, like you said, you had lots of no's, but now that they're kicking themselves with all these investments that you've got and the success that you've had in barely 3 years, and it's really influential and really inspirational.
That's I agree. So for me, I mean, I think basically lots of people, they will give opinions about everything. So what you need to do, you just need to care about people who you do trust. For example, for me, when I started this company, only 3% people in my circle, they said that is a good decision. 97% have opinion like I shouldn't start entrepreneurship. The reason is it was risky, and I'm not saying they were just saying this because they don't want you to be successful, because different people have different experiences in life. Some people, they have personalities, they don't want to take risk. So then if someone is giving you advice like don't do this work, don't do that, it's based on their experience. For me, if you want to be successful, just be risk taker, and then appreciate other people's opinions, but make your decision what you like. Don't make your decision based on other people's opinion, because for me, I'm the one examples, like if I have listened other people around 10 or 12 years ago, probably I wasn't sitting here. So that's
well, that's great. And I think something that I want to touch back on is having like your brothers as a support network. And outside of family and friends, how have you found developing like a support system around yourself as a young entrepreneur?
Yes, thank you. So for me, I mean, if I be honest with you, the networking system, which when I started this company, I have no support from outer circle, but then I decided to Google accelerator program, because anyone from, for example, my supervisor, anyone, they were like thinking this is not a good idea to start a company. So I Googled it. Google is the best friend, I'll say. So I tried to find accelerator program. And then there was one program, Imagine If. So it's in Manchester. So if you have a startup company, so you pitch your idea. And then from there, when I pitched my idea, I failed miserably, I'll say. When I went there, my legs were shivering. And literally, I was just sitting there. I pitched and I can't remember what I said. And then there was one judge. And even he said it to me, if he's watching me, then obviously now he can see me like how things progress. So he said it to me, you should be an academic, not a business person. And the reason they asked me questions that were relevant to business, and some of them I didn't understand at all. So, but at that time, because of this program, I got 2 mentors. So those mentors, they had background in business. But what they said it to me after even finishing, they said, it's okay, you failed, but we will support you, we'll continue to support you. So those 2 mentors, basically, they helped me to develop my business skills. And then after the, obviously, University of Manchester is a great university. It's not, I'm saying because I'm sitting here, this is, I have experience like from different universities. When I applied for venture further, so then I have received support from A and B. So from even I used to sit here and waiting for some advisor who used to sit on the other side. So they have supported me from there. And then there were other programs that are run in UK. So what I did, I just tried to find mentor, advisor. So I sent messages to them on LinkedIn. So I was really proactive. Although majority of them, they never responded me, but I never decided to give up. So I used to message like 50 or 60 people. One of them, they were like, okay, we will support you. So for me, that one person. So this is the way I do a network outside my family and friends circle.
Oh, that's really good advice. And how have you found going from like knees shaking pitching to being like a confident pitcher? Like what has helped you to gain that confidence?
Yes, so for me, if I be honest, during my PhD, if I have to present about technical things, I will go 100 people sitting. I will pitch really confidently. I don't feel like, okay, I'm checking. But if you don't have knowledge, for example, to me, if the reason you don't feel like you're confident, one reason is because in back of your mind, if you know you don't have knowledge about something, then you don't feel confident. So for example, when I used to pitch for business idea, from my inside, I used to think I'm not a business person, I am an academic. So that affects when I went to speech. But later on, what I did, I learned lots of things about business. I spent around 6 months just to understand what is SWOT analysis, best analysis, best analysis, these things. So these things were new for me. And then after winning venture further, for example, Ali Harari, so automatically my confidence started building up. And then at the same time, I think the other reason, main reason was I used to think I'm not really good. But the other people, when I used to pitch in front of them, just practice session, they said, they used to say to me, you just don't think about what other people are thinking about you. So for example, now when I'm sitting here, don't think like how other person will judge you. So the reason I wasn't feeling confident when I used to go to pitch, I used to feel this person is thinking that thing about me, that person is probably thinking that. So just that is the, I feel like just grasp knowledge, like learn about the things you don't know. And the second thing is don't feel like other people are judging you. Even if they are judging you, just don't care about it. So just, that's
because other people's opinions don't really matter to your journey, do they? Unless they're invested in you, then maybe they matter a little bit. No, that is really fantastic advice. I think you've been giving us loads of good advice this session. This leads me on to the next question. What would your best piece of advice for young entrepreneurs that are students or recent graduates in undergrad, postgrad, what would your best advice for them be if they want to be an entrepreneur?
Yes, so for me, there are two advice I want to give it to anyone who want to start this journey. One is be ready to sacrifice. The reason it seems really fancy journey, but actually if you're not going to be sacrificed, then you're not going to be anywhere. For example, when you start your company, this is truth, like most founders, they work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, and sometimes 7 days a week. And I'm not saying you should also go with this, but this is demanding job, I will say, because it's like your baby, so you need to take care of it 24/7. And the second thing is rejection. Don't take if someone is, for example, saying to you, there are lots of people, they will just say to you, your idea is rubbish. So they will use this sentence, but don't think like if that person is rejecting you, then other people will also reject you. So rejection is just a part of this journey. So be ready to have like rejection. And third thing, sorry, because this is another important. So be kind with other people.
That's good.
So that is what I have learned. When you are kind with other people, then you meet with lots of other kind people as well. So try to help, like for example, entrepreneurship journey, if I say like it's 100 stair, if you're on second stair, try to help people who are on first stair, so then they can be on second stair as well. So it's just like a chain, so be kind. So for me,
I think that's probably one of the most important ones, is you need a strong network, and you're not going to get there if you're not kind and help other people. And you don't know, somebody you help might also help you up the ladder a bit further. So I think that's really important. We've had a couple of questions from Facebook, and the first one is, what are the next steps for AEH after you've secured all your investment? What's your vision in the future?
So for us, the vision, the long-term vision is we want to become Apple of Agritech. So when I'm saying this, it means like we'll be most innovating company in Agritech sector with sustainability as a key. I will say our goal is to make agriculture sector more sustainable. And in short term, basically, obviously, we want to have our manufacturing facility ready by the end of 2022. And we are hoping we will be like 50 to 60 people in a company, and we'll start selling our product this year. So this is a short-term goal, but in 5 years, obviously we want to have presence across the world. So we are already working on this. So we are thinking to have our manufacturing facility in Mexico and in UAE as well. So this is.
That's great. So you've been on lots of trips then, staking out locations. I wouldn't mind a trip to Mexico, especially when it's rainy in Manchester. Yeah, that's great. And what are would you say is your top tip for growing a company? So obviously you started with your idea from research, and then went to venture further. And then for your goals after, what would you say is the best tip to seek that?
Yes, so for me, the best tip, if you want to grow as a company, is to listen customers. Because there is one term, lots of time we disagree with this term, customers are always right. Lots of people, they do disagree with this, but I think the field where I am working is try to build your relationship with customers and listen to them. For example, I have the way I modified my product was mostly based on customer survey as well. So this is one, I think, if you want to grow, because more customers you will have, obviously you will grow financially. And then the other way, if you want to grow, is to have really good team. Because on your own, you can achieve like 10 things, but if you have like good people around you, they will make sure that you achieve 100 things in a time when you can achieve like 10 things. So this is
no, that's really great. That's great. And how have your priorities changed? So in terms of like time management, obviously when you were researching, you're also starting your business, but how did you manage all of that as one person?
Yes, so my priorities, for example, they have changed a lot. So when I was one person company, I just used to email people like, okay, do you want to join me? Do you want to mentor me? And my focus was not customers, if I be honest with you. So priorities was just to make sure that I have a right team around me. And then I used to, because when I was a one person, I was CEO, I was a scientist, I was accountant. So all jobs basically I used to do on my own, and I used to work for 18 hours a day, and then it was 7 days a week. And then obviously after winning Innovate UK grant, then I expanded my team, and then everyone has like skills in different sectors. Now our priorities is like we should have our manufacturing facility ready, we should start selling our products. So focus is more to make sure that we start generating revenue and to become like multi-billion company. So
that's a good goal. That is a good goal.
So this is basically, so priorities are more on customers and manufacturing.
Great, cool. That sounds like a really good goal.
Yeah.
And do we have any questions from our in-person audience? Yeah, go ahead.
How did you build your team? Like, what were the steps you took towards having a reliable team of people you can trust and build the company with?
Yes. So the way I build up team, so when I won Innovate UK grant, so first employee came from, again, a reference from here, Masood Entrepreneurship Centre. So there was one guy, he wanted to start his company. He was a PhD student, and he's more reliable person in my company. So someone from Masood Entrepreneurship Centre, they recommended him to talk with me about his business idea, and I suddenly in half an hour I realized this is a person I can trust, and it's the most reliable person, and my goal was just to hire him. Somehow I managed to convince him, although at that time I didn't have any money. I just offered him a job, and I was like, I will secure investment. So this is more recommendation, like networking. And the second way, the way I built up team was like, for example, I'm not perfect. I lack lots of skill. I have lots of good skills, but there are lots of skills I'm not really good at it. So what I did, I just wrote down the skill set I needed. So then I try to interact with as many people as possible. The way usually I'm not saying I'm really good at judging people, but somehow there is like inside your heart, like this person will be more reliable. So for me, it was networking. So interacting with that person a lot, and then this is the way I build up like a team with right skills. So my focus was like, don't hire people with the skills, the set that I have. For example, I'm a more technical person, and I know I can do this, but I can't do things like financial ones. So I just went with the person with those skill sets.
Mine was a really short one. Are you considering, or maybe you are, I'm not sure, being a mentor for Imagineer? Because that would then be full circle if you became one.
Yeah, this is what I will do it. So I'm not saying I will do it this year, I will do it next year. The reason is, at the moment I am already mentoring like 4 or 5 probably for a woman's entrepreneur. The reason is women entrepreneur, they need more help. Males, they do need, but women, what I have noticed, unfortunately, they're not really confident. So for example, if it's the same company, same idea, female founder, she will be like, oh yeah, this is our technology. She will just not feel confident. And if male, he will be like, oh, my product is wonderful. Are you going to invest, or are you not going to invest? So I don't care. Women, they don't feel in the same way. So what I try to do, I try to mentor female entrepreneur to build up their confidence. And so far I'm doing for 5 women, and I do hope I will join Imagineer soon as well.
That's great.
We were actually going to apply this year, and then we had a sort of small fight and think we're going to apply next year, so that's perfect. We'll do
yeah, keep waiting, we worth it. Any other questions from in person? Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
have a question. It was very interesting when you said the importance to be focused and to persevere when you fail or were rejected so many times. How can you continue or maybe recognize when you need to pivot or change the path? Maybe this is not the right path and you're receiving all of this. So how to recognize if you should change direction or carry on with the same thing? Yeah, I think this is really, as you say, it's a really good question. So for me, I mean, if one thing is your gut feeling, so that is one thing. So you now like this is the right time now, I mean things are now working. So for me, what I did, for example, for myself, I set up a goal. So I was like, if in 1 year I didn't achieve anything, then I would just change my idea. For example, for wound care technology, the reason I decided to change because I knew like no matter how much hard work I will do, I'm not going to generate revenue like for 5 or 10 years. So you know, like, okay, this is not going to be happen. And then there were more positive feedback about my wound care technology. There were less rejection on that technology. But what I knew, like, you need to, because when it's your idea, you know, like, okay, if I will work for 1 year, if everyone is going to say no, then it means there is some problem with your idea. So just set like, okay, 1 year is a goal. And then I'm not saying change your idea totally. It's probably, you need to talk with, for example, with people who have expertise. When in my case, I had mentors who told me, if you are going to pitch your idea in this way, it is not going to be work. So you just need to change things. So you need to learn. And after trying all these things, if it doesn't work, then it means it's a time to give up. So basically, when I'm saying don't care about other people's opinion, there are 5 people in your circle. You need to care about their opinion. So because they have expertise in that field, they will guide you. But what you need to do before changing, before giving up, try everything. And if it doesn't work, then it's the right time to either modify your product or either like learn from other people how they give these, how they present their idea to other people. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking half the spotlight. So with like hard tech companies, so something where you can't you take 5 to 10 years to make your product. How do you approach investors when you have sort of nothing in hand to show for it?
Yes, so this is a good question. So basically, investors usually, they don't invest in idea. They always invest in founder. So when you don't have any idea, so your confidence, the way you pitch your idea, and if you believe in your idea, believe me, other people will also start believing in your idea. So investors, usually, I mean, when they invest in startup company, most startup companies, they just have an idea, nothing else, nothing in their hand. The same happened with me. But the investor who invested in me, they said it to me, they didn't invest in technology, they invest in me because they know I will achieve it. So you need to give an impression to investor, not only impression, obviously you are like the asset. So you need to give, you are hardworking, you can achieve, and you can present your idea like in confident way. Confidence is a key. So for any founder, confidence. So be confident. Even from inside, you're not confident, but just appear to be confident. And then investors, basically, you need to sell them your story.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Thank you. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do actually. I studied plant science and I want to go into sustainable agriculture. And it's very inspiring to hear your story because I've been reaching out to professors, generally they're white men,
I also struggled to get in contact with LinkedIn. So it was really nice to hear like a success story in it. My question really is that in the beginning, like you discovered this product and you were mainly in charge of the research and development, and now kind of you've like more shifted towards like finding investor, being the CEO, founder of the company. Like, how do you feel? Like, do you miss being in research and development? Like, how do you make sure the product, even though it's worked by your team, like, how do you ensure that it still stays on the vision of how you want this product to be?
That's true. And so one thing, I'm not plant scientist.
Sorry, you're a chemist, I know.
So my background is more material. This is what I do. So I'm CEO and founder of company, but
Yes.
I'm not saying I do miss R&D activities because I am still part of R&D team. So for example, for 5 days a week, last week, I was in 4 different cities every day. But on Saturday, I was in the lab, so working for full day. But the other way, if I'm not in the lab, so I make sure that I interact with my team every day. And even it is just for 5 minutes to check whether we are all on the same page or not. So I'm not saying I don't let them to innovate what I do, but what I make sure that I know like how things are going on, because in our team, for example, I have commercial experience as well. Before I started my PhD, I worked in industry for 1 year. And then from there, I knew like if you want to commercialize our product, then how that product needs to be. So for me, I mean, yes, I do enjoy to be in the lab, but what I do at the moment, so far, I work on Saturday, like I'm in the lab. So
It's really impressive.
Sunday I did day off, nothing. So Sunday I just like cooking and things like that. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any other questions?
No, none for me.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I mean, I can ask a million if you want me to.
You can ask another one, then we can go to some online ones.
So the position that we're in now, it's just the two of us. We both study the same thing. There's like 3 or 4 different sort of avenues we could take in that. We're in the biotech sphere, so we could either focus heavily on the bio side, or heavily on the tech side, or heavily on the marketing side, and just create a bunch of hype. So what would you recommend sort of like for projects where it'll take a few years to actually make money?
Yes. So for me, I mean, if I feel in your position, you guys are in better position than me. You are 2 people. I was one.
I don't count.
So if I was in your position, for example, market research is one thing, like before going into any idea, although I didn't do it when I started my company, but I learned later on like market research is a key thing, because if you got 3 ideas, just try again, like first thing, because when you start it, lots of people, they don't want to interact with you. If I be honest with you, startup companies, they will love to. For example, if you will come to me, I will love to help you. But what you can do, for example, Google it, like, okay, this is the thing, how it's, there is primary research, market research, and there is secondary market research. So one research is just based on survey on websites and look at it, what is the future forecast for that product. But most importantly, you need to be really passionate about the field you want to enter. No matter how big the market is, how good opportunity it will be, if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to achieve anything. So you need to find your interest first, and then after that, just try to talk with customers. You need to find this is the company, probably they can work with you. So you got 3 ideas, try to go to 3 different companies and see like who is responding you earlier. So for me, this is the way you can get. And then also you need to, if I be honest with you, for example, myself, I am working on 2 things, but I knew like from agriculture sector, it's easy to generate revenue. And then the idea behind my company was like, firstly, to generate revenue from the product we can launch early and then use revenue to build on the other projects. So for me, this is the other way.
Thank you.
Any other questions from our audience?
I actually have one. So I remember at the start you were on about your journey of how your family supported you to get to this point. What is the reaction now back home? So just for context, I'm also like a brown woman of colour, and I know that so after I did my postgraduate studies, the feeling was that they were very proud of me. They were, happy to see how I achieved the goals that I did. Is it a similar outlook for you? Is it encouraged people back home to look at this, alternative path to them?
Yes, so for me, I mean, when I started my PhD, for example, obviously my close family, like was they were really supported by, in our culture, aunties. So they used to like, I used to receive lots of criticism from them every day. Even my family, they used to hear like, oh, she is over 22, 23, she should get married, not to go to university, she's not going to be fine, right husband. So this is quite common in our culture. But at that time, they were like that, and they were thinking, I'm just going to uni to do nothing, because lots of people, they don't know, in our culture, like our aunties, because they're not really educated, they don't know what is postgraduate study. So if you go after undergrad, most of them, they just think that person, she's not interested in marriage, and this is just one way to get away from marriage. So, but now everyone perceive it so positively. So for example, in my city, from the caste I belong to, it's more like usually they're not in favor of education, but now they tell my dad, for example, my dad, he's still in Pakistan, he's coming to UK, they're like, your daughter is a good example for our daughter. So now it's really, it's changed. So for example, one auntie, like distant auntie, I still remember, we went to their home, me and my brother, and then she was like, our daughters, they are born in UK and they don't go to universities, and you brought your sister from that city to get educated. And then I saw because obviously in our culture, it's good or bad, I just know you can't say things if someone is older than you. But on that day, I saw my brother, literally I saw tear in his eyes. And but now, that auntie, basically, when I won Innovate UK grant, she came with sweets, so things has changed. So I think, yes, so now everyone is really positive. And I think even like here, for example, my own family, like close one, my all cousins, British, but they're educated, they go to universities, they studied in different cities. So our close one, like my own family, we are they are in education. But in our family, we have first relatives, second relatives, third relatives, all part of our culture. So but it's really, now when I go, everyone, like basically, even when I went to Pakistan last year, so they want to put my story in newspaper, and I was like, no, at this stage I don't want to, I guess. So everything has changed. So
that's really great. That's such a positive influence on a culture that's been quite long-standing in terms of marriage. So that's really good that you've managed to influence your own family as well. So really cool. Any other questions from the in-person audience? Okay, I'll let the online audience ask some questions now. So somebody has said that they would love to know what ways you're looking to collaborate with key stakeholders in Manchester. They are really interested in sustainable agriculture and would love to know how things will be developing at the hub of your research
Okay, that's
in
good.
Manchester.
That's
Ooh.
So for example, my vision is also to have manufacturing facility
Mhm.
in Manchester, so then we can employ lots of people. Yeah, we are really open for collaboration. Even for example, you got an idea and you want to come to us, I'm not going to be saying no to you, because I know like it's small idea and then it can become multi-billion idea. So this is the way. So if someone, for example, in Manchester, our vision is to make this city more greener, because as most of you are aware of like net zero target, Greater Manchester, they want to achieve by 2038. So we are willing to collaborate with, for example, with restaurants, with even like with building societies, like who are developing new houses, so
Yeah.
community center. So we are open to any sort of collaboration. So you just need to contact me, and then you just have preliminary meetings.
And how best would somebody contact you? LinkedIn or email?
Yes, so for me it's email, or LinkedIn is also good, but LinkedIn usually I just logged it after one day. Emails, they're all
Okay, so email.
Yes.
Okay, we'll make sure to link that. Hopefully we won't get too spammed with the requests, but we can give that contact if anybody wants it. And finally, well, something from me, who also has a small business, a long time, full-time work. How do you find the work-life balance? So working, studying, working on your business?
Yes, so for me, if I'll be honest, again, from my side, lots of people, they go with think work-life balance. So I am again going to be a bit controversial about this. We are saying, like, if you want to start your business, you can achieve work-life balance. Probably you can, but for me, I mean, first year, if you start a business, it's always work. So there is no work-life balance. After 1 year, so what is happening? You start developing things, then it's just like, then you can switch your hour. For example, 80 hours a week is normal for founders. And if you're really good, so for example, if you're 2 or 3 team members, so 40 hours you can divide. But for me, for example, it's quite difficult. This is the sacrifice. Usually when I'm saying you need to give sacrifice, so this is the sacrifice you need to give for your business. Because imagine moments now again. So when obviously when your mother, for example, you have baby, so you take care of them like for 24/7. So it's the same, your business is also your baby, so you need to take care of it. And it's important. I mean, obviously, if you feel like you're feeling pressure, just take day off. So I'm saying, like, for example, the way I advise, obviously it could be different. So for everyone is different, but from my experience, I used to work for 3 months continuously and then 1 week of nothing. So just switched off everything and then just doing everything for myself. So, but it's difficult. If I'll be honest with you, it's difficult to achieve work-life balance in first year of your company.
Yeah, I think that's very realistic, and I think that's definitely something that people need to consider, like how quickly they want something to move on and how much time to dedicate to it. But obviously, studies are a priority. So when you're studying, it's good to prioritize that.
Yeah, so sorry, I mean, I just skipped that part. So what I did, I started this company in October 2018. I was correcting my thesis. And then at that time, I applied for Imagine If competition. And this is the reason I failed the competition miserably. Because for me, I mean, that time was to focus, to finish my PhD thesis. And then what I did, I just stopped my idea. I used to spend only 3 hours on company and rest of the hours on studies. And then after that, basically, once I submitted my thesis, it went to, my whole focus was on company. So they are really good people who can study and then they can spend their time on business. But I feel like business is more like, if you're doing your PhD and then you're starting your company, then what is happening? Don't feel like you have to achieve these things in 1 year. So what you can do, so aim for like 2 years. For example, if I'm just working on a company, then I can achieve things probably in 1 year. But if you're studying, then don't compare yourself with a founder who is devoting themselves like 24/7 on a company, because this is another thing. What happens when you compare yourself with others, then you start like, I feel like, okay, you are not going to be successful. You start getting this feeling. So this is another advice like for me. So studies are
the priority. No, that is a very good point about comparing yourself to others' journey. Like for myself, I've seen competitors succeeding at a faster rate because they've got a different life to me, and you should never ever compare yourself to somebody else's journey, because like you said, you will be successful if you really want to be. No, but that is great, and thank you so much, Beenish. It's gone so quick, so thank you for joining us. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to contact Meg or contact Beenish on email, not LinkedIn, and we'll be able to get you in touch with all your social medias. So we would like to thank everyone for tuning in, for joining us. So yeah, I would like everyone to connect with the Masood Entrepreneurship Centre across social media, connect with us in the zone, as some of you are right now, and we're happy to help any sort of businesses that come along, no matter how small your ideas are or how big that you want them to be. So we have really exciting events coming up all throughout March into April, and obviously we've got our main event, She's the Business, coming in April on the 7th. So we hope that we can see you all there. Let's see if I can get this to work. There you go, you can scan the QR code and you can book your ticket to your entrepreneurial journey with us on the 7th of April. So thank you, everyone.